So, hi everyone, welcome to another class. This is day 24. It's good to have everyone here. Hope we are all doing great. So, kindly confirm if you can hear my voice and if you can see the screen. All right, so today we're going to be using Google Colab for our. We're going to use Google Colab for, you know, for our class. I think at the beginning, let me reshare my screen. I want to reshare my screen. I want to reshare my screen. So I want to share it as a window and not because I want it to be big. Great. So I want to reshare it this way. All right, fine. I think I like it this way. So confirm if you can see. Great. So I love it this way. So confirm if you can see my screen. But I'm excited to be here and for us to thank you, Wisdom, for us to have a wonderful time, in class today. It's going to be an exciting time. So we want to look at a concept called try and accept in Python. Okay. So the goal of it is that I was thinking that part of our curriculum is to also ensure that you guys know how to handle issues when they arise in your code so that when you're building an application or you're building a software or whatever you're building and you tend to look at the possibility where a user might want to enter values that are not needed, okay, maybe the place of entering numbers there, there's an issue by the user entering alphabet and all of that, but you want to correct that. You don't want it to disrupt your code, the flow of your code. So that is where we use the concept of try and accept. So try and accept are keywords in Python used to handle errors, exceptions gracefully without crashing the program. All right. So why do we use it? Like I said, when something goes wrong, like dividing by zero, okay, and entering the wrong data type or accessing a missing file, Python normally stops the program with an error. So your program normally stops with an error. But using try and accept, you can catch the error, it shows a message, and let the user try again and continue smoothly. All right. So we try and accept your error, your code does not just crash. The user sees the opportunity to correct or to correct the mistake that was done, and then the code gives it the opportunity to say try again. Okay. So what is the basic syntax? The basic syntax is I want to put because I want to run something. So the basic syntax is try, and then when we do try, we put a set of code, and after a set of code, the next thing we want to do is we want to catch the error, and what do you know what to do if the error occurs. Okay, so there are basically different type of errors that might occur when you are working with try and accept. You can easily research the list of number of try and or exception errors that we occur in Python. I know we have um, divided by zero, division by zero, and a lot. We could easily search them. Let me just search them here. Type of try and accept errors, or let's say list of exceptions in Python. Okay, Google is your friend, so we could just want. Let me see if I can have an image that talks about it. Great. So let me click on any of these. Let me click on this. I think this is showing. Let me go to the website and find. Great. So you can see this shows us a list of exceptions that we can handle. All right, doesn't stop you from reading. That you have to research so that you can see a lot. So we can see we have arithmetic error, name error, value error, type error, OS error, runtime error, and under arithmetic we also have exception group. So under arithmetic we might have division by zero, zero division error, floating error. We can also have final. So these are possible errors that Python is saying that can come up. All right, in based on when the user is it's using your software, whatever. So you can write your code to trap all of this error. You can predict what type of error will come out, and then you write a code to trap it. So you could see we have things like value error. I think this site is more resourceful for us to learn. Okay, so let's go back to our code. I'll make this a little bit bigger so that you guys can see what I'm doing. So let's say, for example, we want to pass in numbers. Okay, we want to pass in numbers from users. All right, we want to pass in numbers from users. We want them to be able to, uh, you know, take take response from them. Let's say we want to a simple basic calculator. Let's say we say number one is equal to great. So this is cooler for you. I don't get to do everything I want to do myself. Great. So we can say that results is equal to number one dot yeah fine fantastic. So if I run this cell, it's going to tell me to enter a first number which is 10, 20. So it runs. We are doing divide. So if I do A, it crash. All right. So let's put this inside a try and except because it's crashing, and you can see that the error we are getting is a value error. So you can always get these errors when you write your program and then you run through maybe a problem. You can always capture the error. At least it's telling us what we read in that previous article we saw. So I could come here and do something like this: try, and then put all the code in my try, and then I will have an except. Now in this except, I don't want to do anything. I just want to print to the screen that let's say invalid input. This time I'm not trapping the error. Okay, I'm not trapping the error. So I will run this. So if I do 10 and I do 30, it's going to give me my answer as needed. I don't know why Google is showing me this. It's generated code is subject to. I don't know. That's their problem. I don't know what is that. So if I run this and then 10 and I wrote maybe QA or something by mistake, it's going to tell me an invalid input. So you see, in this case, it's not crashing. All right, it's not crashing. It's telling me an invalid input. Okay. So what if we do something like this? Let's say we put this under a y. Okay. So y true. All right. We want to do this. Okay. We want to do this. So if the user makes a mistake, um, no, this is not what I want to do. I'm thinking of what I want to do. What I want to do is that if the user makes a mistake, if you enter an invalid response, it tells you that it's an invalid response, but also ask you to start your start your later again, and then we can also get the exits. I have done that already below. I don't want to bother it too much. So, but I just want to show you in the concept how this thing operates. So we can also do catch the error. The error. Let me just do this tab, guys. So two errors that we can possibly get is the zero division error, meaning somebody might want to divide by zero, and also the value error. Okay, so these are two things that we might literally get in our. I'm sorry, I missed this. So we run this again. So if I enter 10, 20, it works. Okay, then if I run it again and I say 10 divided by 0, to tell me that you cannot divide by 0. Literally, if we take this off, let me comment this and rerun this and say 10 divided by 0, you see, our program is going to crash. Program is going to crash. So there's an error, there's a possible error from there. But once we use the try and accept to capture this error, we might not, there might not be any. Uh, so what I'm saying is that you can decide to listen. Let me show something. I don't know. I don't want to explain too much. Let me comment this. You can decide to capture an entire error, or you can decide to capture a specific error. So let's go back to this. Go back to this. Let's say um, I did not do any of these things. So print stays here. I'm just wondering why. Okay, I think we are good to go. So 10 divide by 0. You see, we're going to get invalid input. The program did not crash. Now, the reason why the program did not crash in this place is because when we do try and accept this way without passing a specific error you want to catch, it's covering everything. Okay, and we can find this as we see as we can do as error. So in this case we want to, then I will not say print a string error for us. Let me see if I'm not. I don't know. I think I might be missing something now, but let me see what's going on. Invalid syntax. Try and accept. I want to trap the errors. Well, I think I have to research on that or what I want to do. But this just went blank. Okay, I think I have it below, guys. I'm just so what I'm saying is that if you want to trap in just a single error, you can trap that. But if also you want to trap in a specific error, if you want to trap all errors, you want to cover all the errors so that when there's maybe division by zero, value error, keyboard interruptions, and everything, you can then trap them differently based on what you've imagined that the user would see, or maybe the user will enter, or the user might probably make mistake on. Okay, let's just go down. Let me explain some of the things I've done. Especially the last part I was trying to capture here. So first of all, I have what we call an EPA function. This is an EPA function I'm using. Let me call it EPA function. It's an EPA function. So what this EPA function is going to help me do is that I've built a calculator, okay, that takes input from a user and then runs, be able to add two numbers. But then what I want to do with this function is that I want to use this function to take the prompt from the user. Okay. So I want to use this get input to take the prompt. And if I take the prompt from a user, if the prompt is not equals to exit, okay, I'm going to do whatever I want to do, meaning the program I'm designing should run and do everything it needs to do. But if the prompt is equals to exit, I want to raise something called a keyboard interruption. You can raise an error. All right, you can raise an error. Let me show you something. So what I'm saying is that if a user types in a number, a exit, if a user types it exit, the program by itself should raise an error that the user has decided to end the program. Okay, by the reason of typing exit. So let me show you the application of that. So let's say we have the def, I've run it. So we're going to pass in a prompt. Remember, it's saying it's asking us to pass in a prompt. Okay, we need to pass in a prompt. So our prompt will be, let's say, enter your age. So as we run it, you see, enter your age, and then we're going to say, let's just say 10. It's going to return 10 because that's what we say it should return. It should return the user stuff. But what if I run this again and I enter exit? It's going to raise a keyboard interruption because we already said that if the user's input is equals to exit, raise a keyboard interruption. And then this is the message we want to pass. Users exited the input loop. So user just exited it. All right. So that's what we are saying. So the idea is that when you look through your code, guys, sometimes when you're working on your program and you look through your code and you look through your code and you see errors, don't be before you start saying it's not working, it's not working. Try to understand what error is this. Okay, what error? This is where it builds your research. What error is this? Oh, this is a value error. Okay, what particular line is this error coming from? You can see that from this place, it's telling me that there's an error. This raise error is coming from line 5 of my code, meaning this is where I'm actually trapping the error from. And that is actually what we are doing. We are raising the error if exit is true. Okay. So now that we know what this function does, so let me just type 10 and now let's use it on a calculator function. So this is a calculator function. When the calculator is called, we type calculate example, type exit anytime to exit. I think I don't know what I was typing when I did this. Let's say pip calculator and then give us a next line and type exit to quit. So why true? The reason why there's a why true here is that whenever the until the user wants to exit, you can continue to add as more and more numbers that you want to. So our first alphabet A, that's our first number, is going to be get enter first number. So remember this function, this upper function, we're going to call it, and it's going to give us when we call this function, we need to pass in a prompt for the user. So we are passing a prompt that we want to get the first number, and then we want to get a second number. We're also going to use it to say we want to um, get the operators or the operators that the user wants to use. So choose an operator, and then we'll run an if statement and elif to check if it's a plus from the user. So we'll just do all of the calculation. These are all basic calculation that we've done before. Else, if the user did not enter any of these things, just print that it is an unknown operation. And because the while loop is still running, it will ask the user to enter again, to enter first number again. So the next thing again is that what if now this is what I was going to this was what I was trying to do when I was saying that we should uh, trap the errors. I was trying to trap which particular error was occurring. So what we are doing here is that we want to trap two errors, either value error that maybe a user enters A or B rather than numbers, and also if a user divides by zero. So if any of these error occur, we want to say error invalid input, try again, and then we want to print out the error to the user so that the user will understand that this is the error you've entered. But if the user enters exits, rather than our program to crash the way it just crashed, you understand? When we entered exit here, let me run this again so that you see. When we enter exit here, it crashed. So rather than it crashing, we want to accept that error, and then the next thing we want to do is that we want you to print to the screen that the user is exiting the calculator. In that case, we have to break the while loop, and that's the end of our program. So I think this is pretty much simple. So I'll just run this and then we'll call the function calculator. So it's going to be pip calculator, enter first number 20, second number 40. We'll get what? Choose, let me say I choose something like A. It's going to tell me that it's an unknown operation. So I should enter the first number again, 30. So let me say choose plus. So it's going to be 40, and it's going to tell me to enter first number. But what if I enter exit? It's exits the app entirely. But the thing is this is that I know this is not too much standardized because we should ask the user if you want to exit or no. After every operation, we should ask the user, do you want to exit or no? If the user says I want to exit, then we'll call would then escape. If the user says does not want to exit, we can then ask the user to enter a number or don't enter a number. But the goal of this class is to teach you how try and accept works. All right, not really my logic of how to work with building something up. So let's take a look at another example. Let's say we have something called age validator, and we want to print. So my slash n, because I want to say type as it, but then to take this off. So let's say we want to allow user to enter their age. If the age is less than 0, we want to see is a value error. Oh, there's something I need to show you guys. Let me come back here. Let's enter 10, and I want to enter B. We could see that our error crashed, that our program crashed by saying, or ran into an error, not that it crashed, ran into an error saying there was an error because I entered B as my second number. But then it was able to log the error, telling us I cannot convert string to float. So the user entered B. So that is a value error. But what if I enter 20, 40 and I say I want to second number is 0 and then I want to divide? It's going to tell me an or no operator. So I want to see why it's telling me an or no. Oh great, I think I know the issue. Oh, this should be divide. Great, this should be divide. So I will run this. Let me stop this by saying exit and let me run this again. So first number is 40, second number is 0, and I want to divide. It's going to tell me that float cannot be divided by 0. So it means that it has logged this error. So we are trapping both errors together. Okay? So let me click on exit. So in this case also, we want to say that if a user age is less than 0, we want to raise a value error that age cannot be negative. And then the next thing again is that we want to say, let me check some things to see all your comments. Okay. So otherwise you print the person's age. Okay. So now if we are raising an error of value error, let's trap it and say that you entered an invalid age input. Try again. But again, if the person enters exit in our prompt, we are going to close the app. So let's run it again. Enter age. Enter your age is 20. Enter age 49. Your age is 49. Enter age minus 10. We trap it. You understand? Now we've trapped an error. Okay. And then if I say exit, the app exits. So do we understand what we are trying to build right now, guys? I want to know if you understand what we're trying to build. Okay? Or what the concepts I'm explaining if you understand it very well. So let me see your response on the comments section. If you have a question you want to ask, you can just type it and let me respond to it as soon as possible. All right. So I think Yeah, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Flourish. So I think we are good, but I want to hear your response. Any response yet? So yeah, it's okay. Great, great. So since we are all good, let's go ahead. Kiss says we are doing a great job. So fine. So let's look at other examples. We have something like a list of index. So we have a list called fruits. Uh, there's a fruits list: apple, banana, and cherry is there. And then why it is true if the index is equals to we want to enter which index do you want to get? Enter index between 0 to 2 to get the fruit and print whatever stuff you selected. But what if you entered, because in a list, things you can enter is that you can have what we call index error. For example, let me do something like this. Let's say we have something like my underscore list is equal to, come on now, this is where uh, 20 comma, wait, this is where they should help out. So if we print the list, you see we have, okay, what if I want to attach the first item in the list? Is going to give me, wonder why it's taking time. Okay, it's going to give me 30. But what if I now say, what's the last item here is that um, it's index 2 is the last item because it's 0, 1, 2. All right. But what if I now do index 3? I'm going to get an error called index error. Okay, I'm going to get an error called index error. So that is what we're trying to trap. We can trap it by saying that um, try and put this in a tab and say except. Let me, yeah, great. So let's do something like print to the screen, or let's say user is equal to input. What index are you looking for? Let me see if this will give me what I want. Great. So this is just what I want. What index are you looking for? So if the user uh, uh, enters the index, what we're going to do is that we're going to trap this. Let's just do this as an integer rather. So I can take it off from this place. I can just say user, but then we can turn this to index and then turn this to an index. Great. So whatever the user gets, and just print it out on the screen. So if we run this, what index are you looking for? I'm looking for index 2. It's going to give me 50. That's the value inside the index 2. If I say -1, it's going to give me 50 because it's going to work. If I say 0, it's going to give me the first one. But what if I say, mistakenly, I say 4? I'm going to get an error. So the error there is telling me that index out of range. That's our error here. Index out of range. But we can also trap it as, we can say as E, for example, and then still be able to print the error out for the user so that the error will understand. Because this one is a default one that we just printed ourselves. What is the error Python is saying? So let's say index 4 again. So you can see this is Python's error. Python is saying that list index out of range. Okay, that is what we decided to trap here. So this is actually the default error Python is giving out. So it means that I can take this one off. All right. And when I run this and I enter 5, it will just tell me list out of range. Great. But another thing I want to trap here, what if I enter A, for example? Our code is going to break. You see, our code is going to break. The reason our code is going to break is that we did not capture value error. So that's why we can come here and say, um, let's capture value error. Let me just copy this. Value error or index error. Those are possible stuff that might come up in our code. So if we run this and I enter B, it's going to tell me that there's an invalid literal. Okay, so it's capturing the error. But if I run it again and enter 6, to tell me this time is a list error that we are trying to capture. So this is what try and accept does for you. It allows you to be able to ensure that your code does not run into problems. All right, that users can be able to understand that, hey, I made a mistake here and I need to correct that mistake. So pretty much that's what we are doing in this place. Okay, it's the same thing we are doing here. So if I run this, it will tell me to enter the index. So if I enter this, it will tell me to enter the index. If I enter 7, it will tell me that it's a list out of range. If I enter 8, it will tell me that it is a value error. But if I enter exit, remember that our function, EPA function, is going to exit the list. So we also have this for a file upload. Currently, I'm using my Google Colab, so I can't run this because I need to upload the file. But it's the same thing as what we did yesterday. We did file upload yesterday, so we can also use that to trap file not found error. All right. So the major error I'm trying to capture here is file not found error. Then, lastly, oh, now I understand what I was trying to. So now I understand what I was trying to build here. Permit me to go back. So what I wanted to build here was to say exception, exception as E. So the goal I wanted to do here was this. When you do something like exception as E, it is the same way as 10, 0, division by 0. Okay, you can see that it is the same way as trapping all errors, but you are also printing out the particular error that the user just entered. So if I don't want to trap the entire, I don't want to trap specific error, but I want to trap an entire all the errors that can possibly happen when the code is running. But I want to show the user that this is the error you are making mistake at. Okay, I'll just do except exception as E. So it means that it will trap all the errors and show to the user what particular error the user entered. So A is going to tell you that literal is this. So well, sometimes to feel safer, you want to do something like this. That's if you do not know what is the possibility of the error that the user might want to enter, except you think that um, you know what might possibly go wrong, or when the code is being executed. But this is what I wanted to show you guys. That would have been me exposing everything I need to teach you before even teaching you anything. All right, but this is it. So I think where did I put it again? In this place. Okay, my email. So you can trap any error using this. So this is an email extractor. Enter a sentence of your email, split the emails into word. Uh, if there is no at in the email, then it means that there was not an email. So what I'm saying here is that if we run this and I say something like God's gift dot c dot olomou and I say dot com, it's going to tell me that there was no email found. But if I copy this and say at gmail.com, it's going to now tell me that he has extracted my email. So the only way it's finding that there's an email, I provided an email, is that if there's an at. So what we're doing is that email is next, next, and then we are running a for loop. So W, remember this is a tuple. We are creating a tuple like this. Okay. So for word, for W, for word in words, if there's art in that word. Okay. So if there's art in that word, uh, nest it. Okay. So for word, W for word in word, if art is in the word. So this is the major stuff that is extracting the text. And yeah. So this also is using the bank app, because we'll be using lots of bank apps for concepts for our class. So we can also use try and accept error here, because in bank, maybe you might have deposit issue, you might have a lot, you might have different type of issues, but you want to trap that error also. So you can use. But at this point, you can see that we are using exception, because the errors can be more, and we cannot trap everything. We don't know what possible mistake a user can make. Fantastic. So that will lead us to doing this. So I'm going to run this, and let's just explore the stuff. Let me run this again. Run this. Enter the amount you want to withdraw. Okay, it works. Then if we run it again, let's say enter the amount you want to withdraw, and I say 6,000. It's going to tell me transaction fee. Try again, insufficient balance. So the error that we had here was um, the exception that we had here was that there's an insufficient balance. Okay, so you see, we raised an exception. I want you to also understand that we are not just doing try and accept, we're also doing raise. I think I have to include that on the title, raise. We're also doing raise, because you can use raise to bring out a an error, right? That if something is done, raise this thing. Okay, it's more like part of your logic flow when you are building your application. Like if there is uh, a level of number of degree, raise an alarm. Okay, so that is it. So I'll do exit. I will exit the ATM. So I think with this point, I've been able to show you guys what we can do. We try and accept, and that's pretty much what I have for us for today's class, so that we can understand this concept. All right, guys. So I want to know if any of us have questions to ask. You can just ask a question. Okay, someone says I'm behind. I need to watch the old videos too. Now the videos are always there. Though. The beautiful thing about this is that you can watch at your own pace. Okay, even when live streaming, you can watch at your own pace. You can decide to go back, just that you will not get me with time. Okay, but the videos are there for you to watch, and like we're doing, we're making it very short as possible. Okay, 1 hour. So what you can do sometimes is that you can decide to increase the playback speed to maybe 1.5, 1.2, so that you just get some stuff and catch up. Okay, and also do the assignment and be able to work things out. Yeah, Francis said I will show it on the board. Said try and accept is a very sweet and smart concept. Yeah, very sweet and smart concept. Very, very sweet and smart concept. So that your code, and it's something you should always implement when you are running your code. For example, let's say you want to connect to a database. Okay, like the assignment I gave to you guys to connect to a database. What if the connection to the database was not successful? Does it mean that the code will just crash? Okay, so you might want to use a try and accept concept to say, okay, if I try to connect to the database and there's an error, something should come up so that we know that this is what is happening. All right. So if there's an exception, are we maybe we have a function, all right? We have a function to connect to a database, and then there's an exception, all right? Or maybe there's an error. Okay, do we want to retry again and retry again until we pass through, rather than the app just crashing and everybody is just, the app just goes that way. So that's the idea. I have I have real time application that I use try and accept for real time. Okay, I have very real time error applications where I use try and accept. Let me say something. So I have a very real time place where I use it. So it's not something you just you want to overlook. Okay, so it's something that you want to use at all time. Okay, so do we have any question? I think sometimes when I teach it and make it so simple. It's that students don't have questions. I'm not like okay, but it's fine. It's fine. I understand that. I'm glad that you guys understand. So what we're going to do is that we're going to apply each of this knowledge to uh, what we've learned before. So all those codes you'll be writing, and and they're just been over everywhere. Please put them into a well structured stuff. Okay, so that when we start doing things, you get to understand what we are saying perfectly. Francis said I had a question on the Slack channel. Can you copy it and just paste it here? Can I can't get to access the Slack channel right now. Uh, I'm on my PC. I have to say no one has answered me. Okay, don't worry. Let me launch the Slack channel. Okay, so I'm almost there. So when you ask the question on the Slack channel, what was the question? Where will the person start from? So we watch the last 5 classes. Is that a question? Or I'm far behind. Okay. Concerning the question is concerning terminologies used in Python. I refer to reserved words like print, input as input function, then def functions as creator function. I can recognize methods. I need no. I think I think the answer to this your question, Francis, is that you have to go and watch day one. Was it day one? I think your the answer to your question is on the YouTube channel. I think we talked about it. So it's more like I'm going to prescribe um, the class where we talked about variables. As you will understand that concept better there. So I've answered you. Okay. Rather than just telling you, start teaching you now. Go and watch the video. You understand better. Talked about and there was a case in that class where I used a reserve word as a variable, and my code went into errors, and I had to solve it in that class. So everybody saw it. So everybody saw the implication of not using reserve words as variable. Okay, great. Gloria, do you have questions? I think we are all good. Now, the assignment that we gave, please, after this class, I'm going to check the folder. I've already shared the link on the group, and I guess that every one of us would have submitted our assignment. Maybe you know how we did it when we checked, used a particular day to check our Streamlit app project. Maybe tomorrow we're going to use that. Maybe I don't know. We're going to use that to check the assignment for the bank app so that everybody also get to see what other persons did. So I'm going to leave the link open until maybe tomorrow class, so that in case you've not finished your work, you can finish it and then just submit. So, guys, it's been a wonderful time with us, and I want to say that in the absence of no question, we'll see tomorrow and get ready for another wonderful assessment for the week. Cheers.